My name is Paul Tedford. I'm CEO of WM Synergy. And WM Synergy is a company that helps manufacturing companies reach their full potential through technology, best practices, and process improvement. Yeah, we've been an Infor implementation partner and continuous improvement partner for their customers and our mutual customers for about 30 years, if you can believe it. And we have about 1,800 customers with them that are all in manufacturing and in all different parts of manufacturing, that discrete industrial manufacturing, that kind of thing. I think the number one misconception that on-premise manufacturers have is cybersecurity.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate because I've been in side-by-side with owners of companies that have gone through ransomware or cyber attacks and haven't been able to know what to ship or move inventory, collect labor and costs on the shop floor for 3 weeks. So being able to move to the cloud, whether hosted or in a multi-tenant environment, it usually takes care of that. We haven't had any issues with customers that have moved to the cloud having any kind of cybersecurity issue. So some of the people and process issues early when they're looking at ERP or just in general. So sometimes it's supply chain issues, sometimes it's, and we talk, it could be scheduling issues, shop floor issues, it could be not being able to close their month end quickly, it could be general efficiencies across the whole company from everything from quote to cash. But when you're doing an ERP implementation, some of the issues that we see is misalignment across a different part of the organization. So finance might want to really focus on getting their books closed, where production wants to focus on how do we get more stuff out the back of the shop quicker, where sales wants to focus on sales. So you really need to have an executive sponsor that, or a project manager for those projects that takes what the whole company wants to do, what the whole value stream map is, and how do you improve the company holistically, and that's where we can help. Yeah, so it's typically between discrete manufacturers, so it could be aerospace and defense, it could be in automotive, we have boat manufacturers, windows and doors, and garage manufacturers. So anything that has a bill of material really, or does projects like aerospace and defense, government projects, those kind of things. So anybody in industrial manufacturing that's roughly between 10 million and about $1 billion, so we go pretty wide. Our sweet spot is typically around the 10 million to about 250 million is where we typically implement customers on ERP. So Infor has quite a few products, but they have some main cloud suite products. So they've innovated quite a bit in the manufacturing space. So they have a very deep functional ERP that handles, again, everything from quote to cash. So you're talking quality control, serialization if you're in a company that needs serialization, engineering, sales, you name it, supply chain. But they also have innovated quite a bit. So they have a tool called process mining that allows you to look at let's look at what you're doing in the system. What are your benchmarks to companies of your size for, say, quote to order? What's that timeline? And maybe your purchase order to receiving the cash or paying the vendor, that kind of thing. What's the cycle time that it takes and what is the benchmark? And then it will track how you're using the product, where the inefficiencies are in the process, and it will give recommendations on where you should fix that. So that ends up being a good indicator of where you can improve your processes and maybe use AI or automate those processes. That's one of the biggest questions I get is where do we start with AI? I don't know where to begin. So that's where this process mining tool allows you to really help with that answer, because it starts with having good clean data, being in the cloud so you have scalable elastic computing, because if you're on premise it's really hard to do agentic AI with security and not allow somebody to ask the question, what's the salary of this person in the company, because that might be in the ERP, right? Just using regular large language models like ChatGPT against an on-premise solution, you're not going to have that security built in potentially. You're not going to have the elasticity to do some really cool things. But then when you take that diagnosis, you can say, okay, this takes longer than it should be. That's a really good opportunity to improve. So we've had customers that used to take 3 months to build price lists at the end of the year. And now they've been able to look at the demand, the supply, the bill of material at all levels deep, what the costs are going into it, which parts aren't getting the right margins, and spit out a recommended product list, a pricing list or catalog. So that's an example of how you could use AI. If you're on-premise today and you're thinking about either moving to a hosted environment on-premise or moving to a cloud so you can get the benefits of AI and that kind of thing, That's the biggest thing that you need to do is start doing right now is cleansing your data, right? So the first thing is let's audit your data, see what, do you have duplicates? Do you have misspelled things? Do you have old customers, old vendors, old bills of material, products you don't sell anymore? So let's audit that, let's clean it, let's make sure you don't have those duplicates. But what we see a lot of companies not doing is thinking about the future needs. So what are the future KPIs that you need? Is the data set up to support that? What's the future process changes you're making? Is the data set up to support that? What maybe are the future AI things, BI things you might want to be doing? Is your data set up to support that? So things like product codes, those end up being really important with all of those things. We'd have to look at the business and their requirements and what their business goals are and where the inefficiencies are in having those spreadsheets. So we'd normally start with an assessment, free assessment. We come in and we help companies look at their whole value stream, figure out where there might be opportunities for improvement. So we hear people say, I want an ERP because I want to get out of spreadsheets, or I want an ERP because I want to be more efficient. I think those are table stakes. Really what you want to do is, can we improve our scheduling? Can we go from 66% on-time delivery to 98%? Or can we improve their month-end close, go from 20 days to 3 days? So we want to hear those real business goals, and then outside of moving away from the spreadsheets and the inefficiency there and the inability to scale with the spreadsheets, outside of the not being able to do the data, modern data BI that you can do. And then the AI is the real business benefits, and then setting yourself up for the AI in the future.
Awesome.
And this one might seem like a simple one, but even a three-way match with vouchering, AEP three-way match. So you might have somebody doing that for 2 days a week, maybe 2.5 days a week in some of our customers. And now they can do that in 15 minutes where the vendor sends in an email with the PDF of the invoice. The system will look at it, make sure it matches what the PO was, actually AI will deal with any inconsistencies, send an email back, that kind of thing. And if there's no inconsistency, if they match, it'll do it all for them. So now you free up that person that was spending 2.5 days to do more strategic things for the company.
Awesome.
Continuous improvement is something that we love. We have our own center of excellence at WM Synergy, and it's basically an ERP agnostic team that helps people with lean, change management, team building, but also business process mapping, future state, value stream mapping. So continuous improvement is embedded in our culture.
That's awesome.
And we put that into every ERP implementation. So the ERP implementation should focus on those 2 or 3, maybe 5 big benefits, plus doing what you do today, because you can't do everything all at once. And then the most successful ERP customers will actually do continuous improvement sprints after they go live. What is the one thing that we can improve this quarter? And then keep doing that and keeping their core team together so they can make those continuous improvements a reality. So Infor has what you call data fabric or data lake. So that means that if you're already a company that's using Salesforce.com, you don't want to replace it, but you want an ERP like Infor, you can connect those two systems or maybe another PLM system. And all that data gets standardized and normalized into one data lake. So now you can do reporting off that with modern BI, and then you don't have to slow down the database when you're doing reporting and running reports and that kind of thing, because it's in that data lake and it has all the data from all the systems. So you're not writing a very complex query against 3 different systems. Today, it usually comes down to on-time delivery. If you can ship things, the more that you can ship, the happier your customers are, the more repeat business you're going to get, and the more throughput you're going to have. So you're going to have more time that you can put more orders out the shop floor. All right, so that's number one, is lead time, on-time delivery. So those are 2 things. I think the other one is estimating win rates are a big deal sometimes, and then also looking at your margins by product line. So sometimes people will make money as a company, but they don't know which products are winners or losers, which is what an ERP can help with.